Let the brothers' war commence. Dan Jessup, Andrew Jessup.
Which one's Mishra and which one's Urza?
Who wins?
I think Urza wins.
I think so too.
Because it's not called Mishra's Saga for a reason.
Aether Hub start for Dan. He was on a 5-card hand here. Inscribed to the bottom. Was looking for a land. I don't think he hit. Just says go. So can
He's just getting outplayed.
I'm gonna go say that Dan is Mishra. Fatal Push hits Andrew's Winding Constrictor.
And now Dan's 3-color deck. Oh, big draw off the top.
Yeah, Long Tusk Cub. Now Dan does not have black mana. He spent his only energy there on Aether Hub. If Long Tusk Cub connects, that'll be black mana.
Yep.
Not gonna. Fatal Push from Andrew and Winding Constrictor number 2. This is going to be hard for Dan to answer. He needs a Fatal Push and a black mana source. Don't know that he has either. Plays another Botanical Sanctum and Walking Ballista on 1.
And now Dan is officially behind.
Yeah. I want to see, is Andrew going to, you can't really take a Walking Ballista hostage.
No, there's no reason that should resolve.
Walking Ballista for 2 on Andrew's side. Make that 3. It's a very important 3 as well. It means that he can actually just shoot down Dan's Ballista.
Indeed.
When your Ballista's on 2, a 2 shooting a 1 doesn't work as well as you'd like.
No, they just shoot you back.
Right. A 3 can just take care of it, though. Attacks for 2. Is Andrew going to shoot it? No, he'll let Dan untap.
Doesn't even need to make that play proactively. Chooses to do it on the upkeep.
Okay, doesn't upkeep. That way, if Dan had a Blossoming Defense, he'd have to spend some mana on his own turn to save.
Yeah. He did still have that Botanical Sanctum up.
And we go back to Andrew. Dan has gotten up to 4 lands here, so he's getting to play, but he's pretty behind. Attune with the Ether will give 3 energy to Andrew.
And the 4th land was basic island, so still no black mana for Jessup.
Andrew gets that land 5, plays it, activates his Ballista, sends it up to 4, swings for 6, Dan down to 12. Without Verdurous Gearhulk in the deck, neither player's playing it. I think coming back from this board is a lot harder than it has historically been.
It's really tough.
Now, there's no sweeper and no haymaker creature at the top.
With the Ballista on 4, you can't even use Hostage Taker to just get it out of there. It just shoots the Taker 3 times in response. Yeah,
a large Walking Ballista demands a Fatal Push. Now, Dan did hit his black mana source. His hand is Hostage Taker, Winding Constrictor. He'll play Hostage Taker trying to take the Ballista, but exactly what you said. Trigger on the stack. Andrew just hits it 3 times. And with these kind of Banisher Priest effects, if you remove the creature before the trigger resolves, the Ballista never leaves. You're wondering whether the Ballista would leave and then come back with 0 counters, and that doesn't happen.
Right. That requires it to be separate triggers. Oblivion Ring, for example.
Yeah.
They just don't template cards like that much anymore.
Yeah, there was a switch. We used to see Oblivion Ring and Fiend Hunter. Those cards would have worked that way, but now that we're on Banisher Priests and Banishing Lights, that doesn't work.
And they moved off it for the same reason they moved off damage on the stack. It just leads to like these weird game spots where you just leverage your rules knowledge.
Yeah, like play Oblivion Ring, trigger on, bounce my Oblivion Ring.
Right.
And then you'd be like, so my guy comes back and be like, no. And then the guy would be like, why? And then you'd have to break out the rule book and explain to him.
Not ever.
Yeah. How many times did you see the rule book? And this is another one. You see Andrew gets the first game of something like, Tide Hollow Sculler you. And then the opponent would be like, bolt your Sculler in response. He'd be like, oh, friend, let me tell you about how you're not going to like what you just did.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah. I'd be like, what? I get my card back, right? Like,
and 60 card main decks, exactly the same. 15 card sideboards, as you can see, exactly the same. Not a ton of finds as we go down the list. We have, for both players, 4 Duress, 4 Deathgorge Scavengers, 2 Vraska's Contempt, 2 Negate, a Scarab God, a Spell Pierce, and a Vraska Relic Seeker. Best card in the 75, and the second copy here is the Scarab God. That's coming in on both sides. Because it's so good, you want ways to deal with the Scarab God, Vraska's Contempts to supplement your Hostage Takers. Likely reaching for Vraska as well, just a way to go over the top.
Yeah. Agree with both of those. Not very into Duress. These are heavy creature decks, or Negate or Spell Pierce for the same reason. Curious about Deathgorge Scavenger. It's a little small. I think, to compete here. That's a 3-2 for 3.
So
It can attack as a 4-3, which isn't horrible.
Scavenger really matters in matchups. A, where your life total matters. B, where your graveyard matters. Neither of those things are especially true here. And in particular, because it gets +1/+1 until end of turn and not +1/+1 counters, it doesn't have any synergy with Winding Constrictor. It won't really be a big player here.
Yeah, if it was 1/1 counters, that card would just be in the main deck, wouldn't it?
Right.
Fair enough. So they're going to sideboard and get ready for the second game. Now, on Star City Games, we have StarCityGames.com Game Night. This takes place at stores all around the country. You get prizes from Star City Games just for playing in your weekly tournaments. So starting, well, today is we've flipped the calendar page over to October, and it means we flipped the promos over to Vampire Night Fox. We saw that one on our creature collection earlier today, and you can get that at a prize for Game Night. Next month, we'll be giving away the Tarmogoat. I was like to say we talked yesterday about how this is kind of Tarmogoyf when there's a rest in peace in play, or it's, that really awkward Tarmogoyf. You can call him a Tarmogoat, and you can get a creature token for that. Be giving away in November. Now, if you sign up now, we can still get you signed up in time for the December promo, which just in time for the holidays, it's a Kroken Crusader, the 1/1 Toad, Frog?
Soldier. Can't you read?
Toad's Kroken, Frog's Ribbit, right? So this would be a Toad?
I'm not a biologist.
Well, this one does neither. This one points a sword at you. You can get this one and find a store near you at starcitygames.com/game-night.
I really admire the use of the apostrophe. They didn't even use the G. Like, for this pun to work, you can't use all the letters that are in this word.
Well, yeah, it's a Kroken, not a Croking. He's going a Kroken.
It only works in some dialects.
So Andrew Jessup, the younger of the two Jessup brothers of Metagame Gurus, living in Ronkonkoma, New York, 8 open top 8s and 1 win for the 21-year-old. He has already top 8 at a Dallas Open last year here. That was the season he had 2 open finals losses to teammates, losing in Indianapolis to Pete Ingram and then here to Kevin Jones at the end of that tournament. Brother Danny also plays, but Andrew is the self-proclaimed best player in the house. He's been attempting to prove it here as he is up a game.
He really just outplayed Danny by keeping 7 cards to Dan's 5. That was masterful.
I like this. These players get to write their own sides. Hip-hop fanatic and fairly decent drummer.
Just the humility just pouring off the page.
Fine, but not great.
My skills are acceptable. I
wouldn't want to claim too much.
I am a hobby drummer. I do it for fun.
I'm quite good for a hobby drummer. Better than you would expect. I would surprise you.
I might surprise you.
I might surprise you. Depending on your level of music knowledge. Turn 1 for Jessup is a tune. For Jessup. For Andrew is a tune. Dan is going to have the first creature in Winding Constrictor.
This is going to be a fatal push check. Things can go out of control real fast when you have an unchecked Constrictor.
Andrew played Botanical Sanctum and a tune for another forest. Kind of suggests a swamp. There's the swamp. There's the fatal push. Check passed. See Hostage Taker lined up in Andrew's hand. For Dan, he's got a 3-drop. It is Rogue Refiner.
It's a nice one.
It's a nice one. This is interesting. The way black-green matchups used to play out, I wouldn't care for this card as much. It'd be fine, but if I wanted card advantage, I'd much rather have Tireless Tracker, something that got lots of cards. I know you can't play Tireless Tracker anymore. But this would be only okay. But now that they're more value-oriented, Rogue Refiner seems pretty nice.
Yeah, a lot of nickel and diming going on with this deck. And Rogue Refiner, that's got to be worth at least a full quarter.
Tap land. Both players just trade lands there. No plays. Andrew's got his first decision. He's got a Hostage Taker in hand, which he could cast here, but he's got a Blossoming Defense if he wants to play Hostage Taker on 4. And I think he's going to give some priority to that. He plays Walking Ballista on 2 and says go.
We're also in a weird spot. This is the first invested Hostage Taker mirror we've covered. You don't want to play Hostage Taker and just get your Hostage Taker hostage taken.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really don't want that.
It can really spiral out of control.
Rogue Refiner swings again. Will Andrew take the damage? He will.
That Ballista's going places. Yeah, over time, that can matter a lot more. You have to protect your life total to some extent.
And now Dan fatal pushes. Andrew will then remove the Rogue Refiner. Good call on Dan to get the 3 damage in first.
Yep.
Plays Long Tusk Cub, leaves up a black mana for Fatal Push, green mana for Blossoming Defense. Plays Aether Hub, up to 3 energy, and says go. Yeah, so the question is if you wanted to make your Hostage Taker first. Now, Andrew just drew a second one, so I think it's pretty free for him to try for the first. If he only had one, I'd be interested to see what he does with it.
Yeah, you might want to wait for a juicier spot. For example, the primary target is the Scarab God.
Takes Long Tusk Cub hostage, and that by necessity triggers Revolt.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Is Andrew going to protect with Blossoming Defense?
It just immediately turns on Fatal Push.
Yeah, so if Andrew
It's a tough
Blossoming
spot,
Defenses,
because if you have Blossoming Defense against this, and then Dan just has Hostage Taker, that's a nightmare.
well, Andrew has another one, so we're going to see a big hostage war. All right, Blossoming Defense protects Hostage Taker from Fatal Push. Dan
Ooh.
Jessup takes Andrew's pirate hostage.
And Dan picked up Blossoming
Oh,
Defense
this is so good.
turn.
This is so many hostages. Dan's going to control all the hostages. Andrew taps 4. He's going to cast Hostage Taker to take Dan's hostage who took Andrew's hostage.
In theory.
Time to do that.
They're even playing with the same color as sleeve. How are you going to have any idea who's you belong to?
Oh, yeah. So tries to take Hostage Taker hostage. Dan defends that hostage. He'll defend his creature here. And so Andrew is just left with a 2/3. And this is all sorts of problems because now Dan can untap and cast Andrew's Hostage Taker and take the next Hostage Taker hostage.
That is a problem.
He's going to control all the pirates. That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
That Blossoming Defense was a huge draw for Dan.
Absolutely. And Andrew, he has a Vraska left over in his hand. Obviously can't cast that this turn. And when your opponent gets to have this many creatures, it's much more difficult to leverage Vraska.
So here's the Vraska Relic Seeker. It's in Andrew's hand. There is the -3, destroying target artifact, creature, enchantment, creating a colorless treasure artifact. Some potential for that. So if Dan next turn casts the Hostage Taker and takes Andrew's last guy hostage, Andrew can cast Vraska, kill a Hostage Taker, get a Hostage Taker back, and then start from there.
I feel like for the most part, we just saw the most relevant turn of the game play out.
Oh, yeah. I wonder in this mirror with so many Hostage Takers and Blossoming Defenses, it feels like you don't want to cast the first Hostage Taker.
Right, unless you're under significant pressure.
So Dan's going to cast Andrew's first Hostage Taker. Yeah, they're trying to keep some sleeves. He's pulling a card out of a sleeve that he is not the owner of. Taking that last creature, and then he'll cast Attune.
Gonna pump up that cub.
Now I wonder here, on Dan's side, whether he took Andrew's other Hostage Taker. This has left him open to removal spells to actually, so if Andrew has one kill spell, the chain reaction starts going back the other way, which is concerning. If Dan wanted to play this safe, he might have wanted to use that Hostage Taker to maybe to do nothing, or to take his own Long Tusk Cub hostage, something like that.
Sure, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, one kill spell here is quite bad for Dan.
And Andrew has that.
Right.
Andrew is down to 8, and Dan has the Long Tusk Cub, but once this starts going off, the Hostage Taker, the Hostage Taker just deals with that.
6 mana from Andrew. I think we're going to see Vraska Relic Seeker. Here is the Planeswalker. And yeah, Andrew can just set all this up going on the way back. -3 can go ahead. It just destroys a creature, turns into treasure. So Andrew can destroy that Hostage Taker. It was his own. It goes into his graveyard. He gets his own other Hostage Taker back. Now he gets that trigger. And that's something this chain reaction just goes back the other way. Now, how greedy do you want to be here? Do you take Long Tusk Cub, or do you want to just take Dan's Hostage Taker?
So from 8, the Cub can already become a 5. Hostage Takers just check each other.
Yeah.
If Dan does something like draws the Scarab God, I suppose you still have Vraska active, so you could just deal with that.
He takes the safe play.
Yeah.
Probably has to. I wanted to see him do the chain reaction going back the other way, but that's me being far too greedy.
And Dan really needed to draw Blossoming Defense on the previous turn and not
Yeah.
Attune.
Or I said when he had cast that first Hostage Taker to just not exile would have made him stronger against this play.
Right.
He will attack his 2/3, attempt to hit down Vraska.
2/3 blocks 2/3.
Yeah, Andrew will block.
Learned that in Rally to the Ancestors standard.
Winding Constrictor here from Dan. That's not going to play very well. You're right, I got a lot of Vraskas on my bingo card. Could win here.
That's true.
We're threatening the win. Rogue Refiner draws a card for Andrew. Andrew's going to cast that Long Tusk Cub. Doesn't want Dan getting it back. Spends his treasure. Casts another Long Tusk Cub. Just going farther on resources. Plays Blooming Marsh plus his Vraska. Gets a 2/2, so 5 blockers in play for Andrew.
Vraska should go to 5.
Yeah. Check that. Vraska, that's a +2 to make a pirate. When you play a 6-mana Planeswalker, you get a lot of good abilities.
Yeah, +1 loyalty for a 2/2 on your 6-mana Planeswalker.
Boo.
I don't think we'd be playing that one.
Suppose if you look back, Gideon makes a 2. Compare that, right? A 6-mana Planeswalker that makes 2/2s. Gideon made 2/2s.
Well,
he didn't cost 6.
They didn't have Menace.
And it was a 0. It wasn't a +2.
That's true.
Far worse card. And Dan will say go.
Yeah, kind of like you were saying, this is very much a matchup where advantage just kind of snowballs. Dan does not have much in the way of things that could break through a board like this.
Well, and that's one of the differences with the blue splashes made for this deck. In the black-green mirror, it wouldn't always be about this grinding card advantage. There'd be about, what would happen is you'd play a few turns of this, and then someone would land a Gear Hulk, and then they'd win. There's no big Gear Hulk like this going on, so it is just about grinding cards. Attack. Dan's going to try to tread water as long as he can. Fatal pushes down a Long Tusk Cub. Trades Hostage Taker with Rogue Refiner. Takes 3 off Cub. Goes to 17. Andrew's just going to keep making pirates.
And one of the better draws on the previous turn or 2 turns ago for Dan would have been a Walking Ballista to go with the Constrictor. With Vraska on 7 loyalty, though, that's a pretty tough proposition to break through.
So what's Vraska's ultimate cost?
10.
Let's go. Oh, okay. Okay. Andrew could get there.
Yeah, I mean, Dan is still at 17.
As long as Dan doesn't concede. That would be the biggest impediment to that.
You might just see Andrew -3 on the Constrictor, to be entirely honest.
Down to 4, kills Constrictor. I don't know why there's a Vraska Ultimates on my bingo card. It's never the right play. You just minus it.
Sigh of relief for Team Ryan on the bingo card.
That's like saying Liliana Vess Ultimates. No one ever uses the ultimate. That's not real.
You can't win the game with Vampiric Tutor.
If you can't win the game with multiple Vampiric Tutors, you don't need this other effect. And there's the concession from Dan. So it is Andrew, the younger brother, the better Jessup, as he says.
Settling once and for all.
Yeah. Takes the win. He improves to 10-1 in the fight between the two. Dan will drop to 9-2.
Some mulligan woes for Dan in game 1, though a lot of what game 2 boiled down to is exactly what you've been saying. Dan with the hostage takers, he put himself in a position where Andrew was able to just snowball that value right back.
You see players immediately counting out their deck lists. They're the 75 card mirror and the 75 sleeve mirror. They want to make sure, might as well make sure they didn't steal each other's cards.
Plenty of hostages taken.
Yeah.